Hey detectives, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janta, and this is my Let's Play of Disco Elysium. In the last episode, we found what I'm pretty sure is our killer, and finally started interrogating him, and we are still interrogating him now. Kim just pulled us aside to talk, and then we're going to keep it up.
A word?
Excuse us a moment, Mr. Charles. What, Kim?
I think we may have this.
Lieutenant whispers, leaves the suspect a short glance. Think he did it?
From nothing to this in a day. This is good, Lieutenant Jeffrater. We just need a confession first, and then maybe a solid motive later.
Yeah, how do you think the questioning's going?
Good. We are doing very good. He wants to confess, I can see that. We just need to pile it on a little more. The more we have on him, the closer he is.
You hear that? He thinks you're this close.
What am I missing?
Well, I can think of one thing. The gun. We should pick it up and discuss it in front of him. Make a show of it.
Good idea, actually.
Yes, sire. Make a production of this examination.
Don't worry, I'm slapping myself to get
I
ideas,
can see
Kim.
that, yes. I'm not judging.
Trying
Yes,
to
good
confess.
going. That should be our first priority.
Okay, let's
Remember,
do this, Kim.
He wants to tell us, but he doesn't want to help us. It needs to look like we already have everything.
Right. Okay, yes.
Minions of capital. What do you want?
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
It's like he said, Triangong made in Signal.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
Lieutenant does not take his eyes off the old man.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
It does. 4.46.
The right type and the right calibre.
Lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun. Patched and modified several
I
times.
wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motorings. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him later.
One more time, Mr. Dross, the Colonel. We need to talk about your killing.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva. That's
I get
right.
it, he's dying.
Pile it all on him now. 3 should do it. Maybe 4.
Brand of boots you wearing there?
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Looks just running shoes covered in mud.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is called Sansarique, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
The lieutenant comes to the same conclusion. Or maybe he changed his damn shoes?
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
Yeah, exactly. People change shoes, doesn't mean you weren't there near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
Or Maybells behind the window.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
Haven't seen them anywhere else in Martinez.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
A young woman called Klasia. Ring any bells? These dried flowers were behind her window.
Classier.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
Yeah. She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. And the muscles in his jaw twitch, spasm.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
I don't need your cooperation that much, buddy. I have this, too.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen.
Yeah.
He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
We saved a lot of them. Their leader, we handled that.
You didn't handle anything. I watched it happen. You let those murderers rip right into them. Got most of them killed. Even the fat one. None of those people mean anything to you. The vultures feed on this city, and you prepare the meal for them.
You're getting diverted. Push the gun. Only the gun matters.
So you watched the fight. Did you like what you saw? The mayhem. It was all your doing, your plan. You got them killed.
You don't know anything.
Twitch runs across the right side of his face as he stares the lieutenant down. Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
Yeah, I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tying things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood.
He was a killer. He was probably a rapist. But he was still under the protection of the law.
Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop eating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He breathes through flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the
The
anger.
lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
Begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
What?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly. Very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs, then smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Not entirely, no. Why were you looking at them specifically that night? Like, why then?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Sure.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
Pull the trigger.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
Jesus Christ, how many murders has this guy committed without us stopping him?
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
Oh, jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore.
Alright.
And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it
Cool.
takes for the
Normal.
bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
The caliber of bullet he used does not do that kind of damage.
How long have you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
Would she hide?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers,
He took it. Okay.
and from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
That's the hidden buoy she told us about. You took it?
After she was gone,
He nods.
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
no. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I'd put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better.
I believe him,
This
but I don't know what
implies
he
that
took them.
he's thought about extorting her.
Yeah.
Also, A little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
When I said her name was Clausia, you didn't seem to recognize it, but you should have seen her name on the passport, no?
You didn't say Clausia in there.
He shakes his head. What did it say in there?
It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. I only remember her face on the photo.
Well, not critical right now. I mean, we pretty much know she's a spy of some kind. Corporate, but... Keep watching her?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks. And a body hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run.
Yeah.
Revishal's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
And you could see the bruises through the scope of a rifle?
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
He watched through the peephole.
It quickly comes to you.
Any chance you've ever seen him through a hole in the wall?
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Was this murder just because you're a fucking pervert as well
Did
as...
you make that
Come
one?
on, man.
With a clip point knife.
Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts.
See her through a window on a roof.
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass.
So you've been through the secret route. Those were your footprints. You changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
Yep.
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
He keeps shaking his head.
Those two took the cake.
They've been doing a lot of sex and drugs.
You
Seems
hear
clear.
the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He points toward the whirling rags.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
You were obsessed with Clausia then.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
You've thrown your life away, mate. You really didn't need to kill another guy over it.
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
Is that why you left the flowers?
No.
He starts to shake his head again. A sunflower on a withered stalk. Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was that?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells.
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her?
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
He wipes his eye.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more.
So it wasn't about him. It was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away. She let us here first, figured out somebody was watching her from the C-fort.
Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week at the island, like she knew.
He sighs.
She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, the oceanic wind washes 40-story towers. Above them, Lucerne Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft. On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still, she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south.
Yeah, she's
Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it, a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes. He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
looking at anything else you haven't liked over the
Tragic
years?
comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put of hatred.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
Come.
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins. In their lorries.
Points inland.
Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
He keeps shaking his head with sorrow for the sight he missed. That
The
all?
worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too.
You know, neither of you was doing a very good job of letting go of the war. But at least he didn't bloody shoot people about it.
Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
Okay.
That's all the rich really want.
I
Sex
don't
with their own children.
think...
Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt Frisell is now dead.
I don't love the rich, but I don't think that this is accurate, deserter.
We did good when we pushed him under the horse car. Until, in the 30s, those disco whores.
He breathes in, breath heavy with hatred, but you cannot make out a single word. Well, he just said something bad about disco,
Disco
so...
whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
You mean Renee?
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June.
Why is it not working class? It's not an expensive game.
Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A patank maniac race traitor.
I don't know how...
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
Shaky finger, he points to the city, toward the crater near the plaza where a lonely pine tree stands.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
The one.
Fat and plump. Like a pheasant. Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross. Shoot me.
You'd like to kill him, I take it.
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later.
The lieutenant asks cheerfully.
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, Renee. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel
He lets out a wistful sigh.
better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Afraid he died of old age a couple days ago.
No,
Yeah.
I waited too long. I waited too long, and now he's dead.
Yeah, you did, actually.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
Manner of speaking.
They're all dead now. Fuck it.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
You had 1,000 chances to do it, Dross.
And I blew them. What does it matter now? He's gone. Ancient dust.
Sorry.
Fuck you.
Thinking you cared
All
about him a little.
human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. And now, God damn this world.
Yeah, to go
You
on.
think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
It doesn't look like he is. Okay.
No. Disco horse?
I don't even care about those whores anymore. Get it over with. Take me in.
Yeah. Union is social democratic and Mr. Clare's a farce of social
I
democrat.
don't want to talk about goddamn social democrats. Traitors is all they are. Brain dead.
He waves his arm, agitated and despondent at the same time. Something about the statue and syphilis?
Griselda first. Philip the second. What's the difference? Syphilitic murderers the lot. I don't want to think about those things anymore. I'm tired of all of it. Glad we talked about what?
Aren't I out of these?
His lip curls into...
Glad we talked about what?
I don't think I'm gonna pass this check, but I don't have anything else to do, so nope.
For a 60-year-old man with stomach trouble, who spent his entire life alone on an uninhabited island, he seems surprisingly fit.
It really doesn't.
He's prone to erratic hand gestures and clearly malnourished. But that's it. You can see no more by looking at his slouched frame. The moment passes, and you say,
Josef Lilianovich Dross, you are under arrest for the murder of Elise Courtenaire.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
What? The old man's eyes fill with sudden unexpected terror at the words.
the sum of all the erratic movements, fidgeting, and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken.
Talking
all
in his
around
ear
you.
or something?
Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But
Kim, he's afraid.
no, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
There it is again, to your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it,
What?
something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat.
Why, Kim?
What?
What are you talking about? Is this really us?
Your skin crawls.
The hell is in the reeds? Oh my god. It's the fucking Insulindian phasmid. And it's bloody enormous.
A delicate
giant
tangle of
reed
arms
insect.
and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb.
Thanks for watching, detectives. New parts will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And have a nice day, detectives. This is Sea Lord Jenda, signing off.